Your show, dude.
So, I happen to be Jewish, and we have in our religion this little holiday which involves asking 4 questions. So I've tried to reduce the debate over these tax measures to 4 questions. The first question is, do we care about education, health care, and public safety? Those are the 3 things these measures are about. Those are where 90% of the state general fund goes. This might sound corny, but what we're talking about is whether a 4th grade child will get to keep her favorite teacher. We're talking about whether a frail senior citizen who has somebody who comes in and makes sure that he can get dressed and doesn't fall down in the bathtub. We're talking about whether that guy will continue to have somebody come in to do that for him. That is what we're talking about. Education, healthcare, public safety. That's where the budget goes. The second question is, do we think that a couple that makes $260,000 a year can afford to pay another $200 a year in taxes to support those services? That's what Measure 66 is about. Nobody pays any more, a family doesn't pay any more in their first $250,000 of income. They pay about 2% of the amount they make above $250,000. So for most people, that means you don't pay anything more. For the few people who make over $250,000, it means you pay 2% of the amount above that. That's for couples. For single people, the very few single people that make over $125,000, they pay 2% of the amount they make above $125,000. The third question is, do we think that corporations can afford to pay more than $10 a year in taxes? Yes, you heard me correctly. $10 a year. Most corporations in Oregon pay just $10 a year in taxes. This asks them to pay a little more, but only a little more. What would happen is S-corps and partnerships and LLCs, those are the kind of legal forms that most small businesses take. They will only pay $150 in taxes. C-corps, which is the fanciest legal form of corporation, they will pay $150 if they have below $500,000 in Oregon revenue. If they make above $500,000 in Oregon revenue, they will pay approximately 1/10 of 1% of their Oregon revenues in taxes. 1/10 of 1%. Or, alternatively, they will pay 1.3% more than they do now on their profits. So, for corporations, keep those numbers in mind. $150 is what most of them will pay. Some of them will pay 1.3% of their profits. Some of them will pay 1/10 of 1% of their overall Oregon revenues. Now, what's the 4th question? Usually, I say the 4th question is, why are these tax measures different from all previous tax measures? If you're Jewish, you'll get the joke. The answer to that question is that previously the legislature has asked us all to tax everybody in Oregon. This time, we're just taxing corporations and rich people. But today, I'm going to change the 4th question a bit. Today, the 4th question I'm going to ask is, what's the best thing for jobs in the economy? And what economists say, what everybody from Nobel Prize winner Joseph Stiglitz and Peter Orszag, President Obama's budget director, and 36 Oregon economists have said is, when you're faced with a choice between cutting services and raising taxes on corporations and rich people, you're better off raising some revenue. Because the money we spend on services, on home health care workers and teachers, gets put directly into the Oregon economy. They go and spend that in local businesses. Rich people tend to spend some of their money on vacations in Europe or investments in the New York Stock Exchange. Some of their money goes outside of Oregon. And as far as corporations are concerned, 75% of the corporate profits tax is paid by out-of-state corporations that do some business in Oregon. There's going to be 104 corporations this year that make $100 million or more in Oregon. But if Measure 67 doesn't pass, they will pay only $10 in taxes. Yeah. 77 out-of-state corporations. So if we tax those 77 out-of-state corporations that make $100 million in Oregon, that takes money out of New York or Cincinnati or what have you and brings it into Oregon. That's good for the economy. In terms of jobs in the economy, a yes for 66 and 67 is, economists will tell you, a no-brainer. So, those are our 4 questions with one sort of extra question. That's the fundamentals of these measures, and I'll be happy to take some questions.